Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating guest. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
And my story started when I was young. Even when I was going to high school, I started 3 businesses, but I failed. And after high school in 2015, decided to go to the US. My purpose was to study. That was my main purpose. So I went there. I spoke in English. I had a lot of difficulties talking to other people. A lot of people wouldn't understand what I'm saying. I couldn't understand what they are saying to me, so it was tough. But I was able to study English, learn the language, and then I went to college in Arizona. At the same time, I always have that mindset inside my Canadian. I want to do something. I'm not. I just end up working in a 9-to-5 job. So I tried to start for business parts. That was kind of went semi-successful, but it was a lot of time commitment, and I couldn't keep up with the workload because I was also a full-time student at that time. So I dropped that business down. What happened to me is that I met a friend and we decided to open a coffee shop. This was like 3 years into my study, and I was saving up money at that time. So once I met him, I was like, okay, now my dream's going to become true. So we planned everything to do that coffee shop launch, and also we met together to kind of prepare the meals, the coffee, all of that. And also I noticed one thing at that time. I was only the one that went to look at different locations to rent places, and I would let him know about that. But I noticed like he wasn't really that excited like how I was excited. And I had a conversation with him. Then he told me, you know what, probably now it's not the right time for me. And it felt like, my dreams just are gone in just a blind of a second. I did not really stop there. I continued to start another business, which was I was flipping cars on the side when I was a full-time student at the same time. So, and that business went really good. It was my first success as a young kid in his college. I was able to even up to $5,000, $7,000 per month. It's not a lot at that time, but it's actually significantly life-changing money for like a young kid in the US alone, no family, nothing. So I continued with that business for about 3 years until COVID hits. That's when everything changes. I mean, the business was really good, but I just got tired of looking at cars. I would also travel 6 hours away to buy a car, bring it back, and even I would fix it myself. I would actually do everything myself. But when COVID hit, something inside me kind of hit me in the heart, which is that maybe if I want to go back to Saudi Arabia or even to travel anywhere, this business, I cannot operate the business. So like everybody else, I started looking online, how to make online, all of that good stuff. And I saw an ad about start your e-com business. I looked into that ad. I went through a webinar. By the way, at that time, I did not know this was a webinar. He's going to have some upsell to sell people. I did not know anything about that. So I went through that, but I did not buy I saw another ad about start your Amazon FBA business. And that ad was only book a call. So I scheduled a call, and I remember his name. His name is Clinton. So Clinton, he gave me a call. We had a good conversation, but I did not really do anything. So I was scared, not scared in a bad way, but I had that mindset, which is everything online is bad. So I told him, hey, call me back in 2 weeks. Let me think about it. And he actually did exactly called me back in 2 weeks exactly. And I gave him another excuse. I told him, hey, you know what? Now is not the right time. Call me back maybe in a few days. He did call me back in a few days. And at that time, I realized, hey, this guy is like on top of me. So probably he's legit. He got something. So I got into his mentorship, and that was the best decision I have ever made. That decision has changed my life. And at that time, it was almost my last semester in college. So I got to the point where I need to make this work, or I would end up in a job that I would hate for the rest of my life. And for sure, I want the first option to make this work. So I was fully committed. I was skipping classes, skipping homework to just really working on the business. And gladly, I made that work. So 12 months later, I made over $500,000 in sales. And 2 years into that business, I sold that business. But one thing I want to say, like when I was in that process in my last semester and also starting the business, I had a conversation with my dad. And he was asking me about school, how is school going, everything. And I told him that, hey, dad, actually, school is going good, but I don't really care about school. I'm doing this business, it's going good, and I'm going to focus on that. I was happy and positive when he said that, but his response was not expected. He told me that, what? No, like you have to focus on the school. That's your future. Like you went to the US to study, not to start a business. So he just went on and on and on. That kind of really dismotivated for me. And I know that he said that from a place of love to protect me. He thought the best for me is just to focus on the school and get a job. But I know what is best for me. So I continued anyways, and I scaled to $500,000. Second year, I sold that business for a good big exit. And during those 2 years, the amount of money I made, it would be impossible for me to make that in a 9 to 5 job. And during also that process in my community, a lot of people reached out to me asking me for help. Hey, how are you making 1,000 a day, 5,000 a day? Even my best day, I think, was 9,000 a day. And I was posting my results into the community. And they asked me a lot for help. Hey, help me out. I cannot even get any sales. Can you help me out with my business? But at that time, I did not have time. So once I sold my business, I started thinking about those people who reached out to me. And that's where I started Finders Automation. I'm wearing the t-shirt, Finders Automation. And the mission for my main company right now is that we do two things. One, we build a business for anyone who's looking to start a business or even to invest. But second, which is that's our main focus, we help investors to invest. Basically, we buy businesses, we scale businesses, then we sell the businesses. So that's our main focus right now. And today, under our portfolio, we have about 16 different companies that we have built from scratch. And so some of them we bought, and this year we are going to probably acquire 2 more businesses before the end of this year. And yeah, I think I have been blessed. And today, believe it or not, if you talk to my dad, he is super proud of what he have achieved. Even I heard him one time talking to a friend about me. He's saying that he's making way more money than what I'm making. So yeah, my dad is proud. At that time, I thought my dad probably he's not gonna be satisfied with what I have done because he did not like this path. But yeah, today we are in good terms. He's proud of me, and also I'm doing all of this not for me personally, to support my family, to support my dad, my mom, even my wife, my lovely daughter, and also the community and everybody else. Now, it's kind of my mission to put my message out there to help other people on how to buy a business, how to sell a business, because that's really mainly what I'm focusing on. So that's kind of my story.
What an incredible journey you've been on. Oh my goodness. Now, a
Yeah,
lot of parents are very, very weary about entrepreneurship. I come from Africa, and education is normally the way that you break the poverty cycle, or you make it and you go ahead. So what was it about entrepreneurship that you saw that made the biggest difference? Instead of you sitting on a bench trying to get a degree, you kind of
yeah.
broke that cycle. Tell us about that.
This actually was my mindset ever since I was a kid. Like, because we came from a poor to middle class family, and I really wasn't happy with our family situation. They cannot afford anything, not anything, but they cannot afford almost a lot of things.
Yes.
So ever since I was a kid, I had that mindset, which is when I grow up and I become an adult, I want to really provide a lot for my family. Even when I was a kid, when I was driving around, when I see a land, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy this land, build a house for my family. It's gonna be a big house." So that's just mindset ever since I was a kid. That's kind of really what helped me to keep pushing through the hard time to make this work. And yeah, as I said, I also started three businesses before I finished high school. I failed, but I continued anyway. And yeah, until I found my success. So my mindset was kind of the main driver to do this journey.
Absolutely fascinating. Now, you've built an impressive portfolio of 16 companies under Finders Automation. What key factors do you consider when deciding whether to acquire a company? What is your investment thesis?
Yeah. So, I'm going to just first mention this. Like, most of the time, it is easier to buy a business than to build a business. Because as you know, building a business has a lot of factors involved. So buying a business is much easier. Like, you can have kind of faster path to success. And for us, especially at Finders Automation, what we focus on to buy a business, mainly our expertise is online business, and mainly it is in e-com business. Since my first business I started was an Amazon store, I scaled that up to 500,000. I saw a lot of results from that. So we are mainly focusing on e-com business. But I want to say one thing, which is that there is no right business to buy. There is only the right business to buy for you. So whatever really works for you, you want to focus on that, because that's my expertise, the online business. And today I am back in Saudi Arabia. So because I build everything online, that also was one of my goals, to not be independent on a location. I can move anywhere, I can travel, I can still operate the business. So yeah, mainly we are looking at online businesses, and there's a lot of factors involved under that. If you want me to go into that, I can go into that.
Yes, please go into that as well. I'm very
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, sure. So I want to mention like probably three main factors. Like number one is the product itself. If it is an e-com business, I'm going to just talk about e-com business, because we want the product to be non-seasoned product. Because like a lot of e-com businesses out there, like they are just only seasonal products. They only sell like probably in summer or in winter or even on holidays. But we don't like that. We want the business to be stable, healthy. So that's the first concept. Second, we want the business to be, I mean, ideally for anyone starting out, 3 years old and plus. And the reason for that, at that point, like the business has been stable. They kind of passed the challenging period, because I mean, a lot of challenges happens at the beginning, especially the first 2 years of the business. So
It's still
3 years
going.
in, yeah, 3 years plus, yeah, that could be a good spot, especially for you if you acquire a business without having any skills to operate the business itself. That will be a good place to look at.
Okay.
And the last thing is opportunity for growth. Like if they're not, for example, leveraging social media, or if they're not selling, if they only sell on one channel, for example, if they only sell on Shopify, not on Amazon, that could be a great opportunity for us to grow the business. So even if they're not doing any marketing, as if they only rely on organic, or if not even doing organic, they only rely on paid ads. So we look
Yeah.
for opportunity areas to grow the business further, and we jump on the business. So that's
Okay.
mainly what we are looking for.
So there's quite a few things that you take into consideration before you make a decision like that.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely amazing. Now, what inspired you to start the Future podcast, and how has it influenced your approach to investing and business development?
Yeah, it's really the main reason why I started the podcast is to connect with high level people, like because and also that podcasts can give you access to good people, and
Yeah.
you can add them in your network, because in business world it's all about your connection, your network. So that was the main reason why I started the podcast, to just build my network and my connection with the high level people. Because even I'm blessed, like I made friends. Even I had one friend, I met him actually this month, within the last 30 days, on my podcast, and he had 3 successful exits, and he made over 50 million dollars. So yeah, I was able to get access to that person, and also we connected really good, to the point now we are friends. So that's
Okay.
really why I started the podcast. And the mission for the podcast is to help entrepreneurs out there to build a better future. So that's kind of the mission of the podcast. Like, we invite successful people to share their story, their journey, what they have
Yeah.
done, the lessons, the hard time they went through, so that other people can learn and observe what they have
Yeah.
done. Because it's all with the mindset. Like, if they develop the way they think
Yes.
from other angles, like if they see a successful person share the way they think, yeah, they can probably absorb something. So that's the mission of the podcast.
I love it. So, for those new to digital real estate and business acquisitions, how would you explain the concept of unlocking a high IOI through this strategy, high return
Yeah.
on investment?
Yeah, this is like a good question. So first, if we talk about any other investment out there, like maybe, for example, the stock market, as you know, like probably, I mean, if you do like day trading, probably you might get 5% a month or something like that.
Yes.
So on real estate, for example, the cash on cash return can be 10%, maybe maximum 20% if it is like so good deal, but it's going
Yeah.
to be really hard to pass 20% annually. But for us, we were able to unlock even 100%, 300% cash on cash return. And the way we do that basically is by buying a business. I'm going to give an example. So the if a business is making $30,000 of profit per month, and you can acquire that business not using your own money, you can leverage. In the US, there is something called SBA loan. You can leverage that loan. It has like a good rate, interest rate, because it is backed
Okay.
up by the government. So if
Right.
you leverage that loan, you can only put like probably a small amount of money down into the business, and over the next 12 months, your cash on cash return can be like more than 100%. So that's
Right.
kind of the game we are playing. Like, we are not really interested in investing into the stock market or real estate, because the return is just really small. So you're buying a
Okay.
business, especially buying a profitable business, because we mainly acquire a business for the monthly cash flow. So that's how we were able to unlock that high return.
I love it. Now, you've had significant experience as a high ticket closer.
Hmm.
How did this role prepare you for scaling companies and managing a diverse investment portfolio?
Yeah. Actually, it is funny because at the same time I started my store back then in my last semester in college, I got
Yes.
into this other mentorship about high ticket sales.
Yes.
And my main purpose was to get into real estate, because
Okay.
I was
Okay.
looking, I did a lot of research on like what to do, how to start. So I just developed that communication skills. Even for me, English is not my first language. And I
Yeah.
was kind of shy at that time. I'm introvert. So yeah, I got into that to just develop my communication skills, sales skills for real estate mainly. But
Okay.
over the years, things has changed. I guess my business was scaling up. I focused on that. Even I worked as a salesperson in big organization like the Unlock organization, and also I joined other teams. I was able to even become the top salesperson on those organization. Like this reward, I have that from Dunlock for becoming the top
Okay.
on his team. So yeah, that's kind of how I got myself into that. But today, because life is all about sales. If you want to
Yes.
invite your friend to go on dinner with you, you have to close them why they should go on dinner with you. If you want to get married, you will sell yourself to your soulmate. So yeah, all life is all about sales and closing. So it is kind
Yeah.
of part of life. But the if you are skilled enough, you can also do good business. You can acquire big companies. You can negotiate good price, because also one company we were able to negotiate a good price. We brought the price from almost $500,000 down to $200,000. So
Oh,
$300,000 money that we saved from just in our communication skills.
yes, yes. Yeah,
So,
sales is everything now.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
amazing. And also, it helps you develop a muscle for rejection. I started selling when I was 6 years old. My parents put me through private school, not because they had money, but we had to make things and sell, weekends, evenings, then go into all the European neighborhoods and hustle. We were hustling from a very early
Yeah,
age. And you develop a muscle where if somebody says no, you don't take it personally. It's like,
exactly. Yeah,
okay, they don't know what I'm selling. I need to get to the next person. That's where the sale will come.
yeah.
And it's a life skill. It actually helps you in life as well as you go forwards.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's kind
that's
of helping to become tough in life as well. Because
good.
yeah, as you said, as you start, when you hear that no, like it's kind of break your heart. Why do they say no? Like it feel like you take that personally, but the more no's you hear, like it just becomes normal. Actually, in sales, even like you need to hear the no before you can hear the
Yeah.
yes. Maybe you will hear like 10 no's before you hear one yes,
Oh, you get that,
which is
yes.
normal. What I used to do with that, I was just having fun with that. Oh, I had a no. Okay, I'm getting closer to the yes. Next.
Okay.
No. Okay, let's move on. I'm getting closer to that yes. Until I hear that yes. Okay, now I get the yes. So yeah, you
Oh,
want to gamify it and have fun with that.
yeah. My mother used to say that when you go selling, you have to go in knowing people have got two options. They can say yes or they can say no. They say yes, you've made the sale. If they say no, don't waste time. Thank them for their time. Go and knock on the next door because that's where the
Yeah.
sale is. So you're right.
Yeah.
Gamified it. And I was very young. And my mother, I wrote a book called Born on the Continent. And I have a whole chapter in that book called Selling Snow to the Eskimos. My mother was such a fantastic salesperson. She could sell you the clothes you're wearing if you're not careful.
Oh wow.
Charming. She knew how to talk to people. So, yeah, sales will do that. It will really teach you how to communicate. Now, many businesses struggle with preparing for a successful exit. People go into business, they don't think about retirement, they don't think about their branding, they don't separate themselves from the business. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs looking to maximize the value of their company before exiting?
Yeah, this is like really a good question. And also we looked at a lot of companies to acquire. And
Yes,
I'm going to share the main problems we see, and those main problems you need to focus on to fix those problems or to never have those problems.
yes,
So, number one, a lot of companies they have like messed up numbers, like their P&L is messed up because also like they operate under one bank account for the personal and the business together. So, if you
yes.
want to sell the business, like you want the other person
Separate.
who's going to buy it to clarify the numbers, the profit, the revenue, everything. So
Yes,
you want to make sure first you have a clear numbers, clear book. So that way, any potential buyer is not going to be confused with your numbers. Because even
exactly.
for us, we walked away from a lot of deals because we couldn't really verify the numbers. So this is
Okay.
like one of the biggest problem and challenge for us looking at businesses to acquire. Second
Yes.
is that you don't want to build the business around yourself. Like you don't want to kind of become the main driver for the business because once the new owner acquired the business and you are gone, a lot of things might drop and just potential buyer don't like that. So you want to make sure you build a system or even a team members around you. Want to replace yourself as soon as possible. So that
Yes.
way the business can run without you. And believe it or not, once you get to this point, the business runs without you, the evaluation of your business just goes up.
Yeah.
So those are the main two things kind of we have seen the biggest challenge. And also there's a lot of things like, yeah, you need to make sure like you can, like, you can leverage any potential opportunity for growth. Because if you add $1,000 profit to your business per month, that could equal to $50,000 evaluation for the business. So you want
Okay.
to kind of try to leverage any opportunity for growth. So just keep your mind open and leverage those opportunities.
Okay. Now, your time as a business advisor with Dan Locke equipped you with specific skills. Which of these skills have been the most beneficial in your current role as CEO and investor?
Mainly it is just sales because at Dunlock I was only working as a salesperson. I start with him, from the bottom as a setter. I was setting an
Yeah.
appointment. I wasn't even allowed to close deals. That's how bad I was. Then, then slowly I got raised to becoming a closer. Now I was able to get appointment from setters and close deals. Then later on, I got promoted to becoming a sales team leader. So I also developed like leadership skills, building a team, training
Yes.
the team, holding the team accountable. Especially as a business owner, like right now I am a CEO and an investor. Leadership is really crucial, especially when it comes to building a team. Like the way you talk to your team matters a lot. And so that's part of sales and leadership. So yeah, those skills help me to kind of move on to the next venture in life.
And I like the fact that you've brought up building a team, because a lot of times entrepreneurs work in their business and not on it. They're in the trenches doing the work instead of delegating and getting other people to do it. And that's where you kind of extract yourself so the business can run whether you're there or not, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also that's how you can have a higher evaluation if you want to exit the business.
I love it. Now, in today's competitive investment environment, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced and how have you overcome them?
A lot of its challenges. One is that finding the right deal, and usually, especially when we acquire a business, you do want, especially if you start out, no skills, nothing, and this is
Yeah.
like the challenge we are facing as well. It will take you time to find the right deal. Like, don't get attached to a deal. Like, you need
Okay.
to be able to walk away from the deal, even though if you get attached to the deal, like, because if you get attached to the deal, you might end up doing the wrong deal. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the main challenge we faced early on. But now we're able to kind of walk away from deals. If that is good, we like it, but if we don't agree on good terms, we will just walk away from the deals. So our biggest challenge is just finding good deals.
And don't
Yeah.
don't get personal. Don't let it.
Yeah, don't get personal. And also that's gonna take time. It could take 1 month, 6 months to find the right deal for you. But you don't wanna end up doing the wrong deal. So take your
Yeah.
time. Don't rush it out.
What do they say? It's better to slow down to speed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Even though
So
like speed is key, but like you want to move fast, yes, looking at deals, everything. But once you find the right deals, you don't want to rush things. You want to make sure it is the right deal for you. If it is not, move on and find another deal.
something else. Now, as an investor, what do you see as the future of the digital real estate and business acquisition? And how are you preparing for potential market shifts?
Yeah, so AI is like crushing it right now. Like I think that's the future. So even right now, I'm looking at this company that I'm gonna become probably an investor. It is like a startup company. They are doing like VR AI education system, so you can actually go to school through like
Oh,
you can learn
wow.
through the VR kind of virtual reality
Yes.
education world. So instead for you, for example, to learn about biology from just listening to someone, you can actually get inside the DNA, looking at the different cells of the body, all of that. So that's actually going to be the future. So yeah, I
Yes.
see the future is kind of moving to that world. The online world is going to be the future, and they used to say that if you want freedom, you want to go to the US. I mean, everyone say US is like the freedom, but I would say right now, if you want the freedom, go online. That's where the opportunity is.
The new country, that's the new
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I love it. Now, what role does innovation play in the companies that you acquire? And how do you ensure that they stay ahead in an ever evolving business landscape?
Yeah, that like the first thing we do is just make sure we hire an operator, a good operator who has skills to run the business and also to scale up the business. So that's the
Yeah,
main thing. And mainly, we build our system around the team members. Even though we have a lot of SOP in place, a lot of trainings. So once a new team member comes on, they can go through that training, they can get back up to speed. So
right,
mostly it is like really the team members because, as you know, one hand cannot clap. Like you need team members to achieve bigger things.
right. That is
Yeah.
awesome. That is just fantastic. Wow. So, what is your long term vision for Finders Automation and the Future podcast? And how do you see them shaping the future of the investment industry?
My long-term vision is to build a portfolio of companies doing 8 figures a month. Like that's my long-term vision, and the reason for that, because once we get to that point, now we will be able to know everything about business acquisition, and we will be able to help other people. Because even one of my missions, my goals probably in the next year or two is to help other people on how to acquire companies as well. Because right now we have been mainly doing that internally, like even we get investors and we do that internally. But I would like to help other people if they want to acquire business themselves, how to do that. So yeah, that's gonna be the mission.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about influencers who are selling their digital businesses. There's people who create theme pages online and they are selling those to other people who are wanting to get exposure. Are you involved with that type of business as well?
No, because if they build the business around personal brand, like if the owner is the face of the business, that's not going to be a good business to acquire because maybe if you acquire, part of the business, like maybe 40%, 60% of the business, and you still have the owner to say on the business, that could be a good business to acquire. But if the business is fully operated by the personal brand and you want to acquire the whole business, that will not be a good business to acquire.
Okay. Okay.
Because also most of those companies, I want to add one more thing. Most of those businesses, they are doing that for the cash flow. Like they just because they treat that as lifetime job. And most of them actually they don't want to exit the business. If you ask them, hey, are you going to sell the business? If they are successful, they will say no. They will just keep doing that because usually they enjoy what they are doing.
Okay. Yes. The last question is, let's have a little thought experiment. In fact, it's two questions. If time was an illusion and I could take you all the way back to that young man who was not going to college, had a vision to go into business, parents are not in agreement, but you knew that what you're doing is going to work. If you could go back and give him 3 nuggets of wisdom, just in case there's another young entrepreneur online right now, based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
Yeah. Number one, start early and have an open mind and an open heart. Look it up online on how to actually start a business if that's your goal. So you just want to have an open mind and heart and start early because my regret is not starting earlier. Yeah, I moved to the US 2015, but I did not even start the business until probably 2020, just right before COVID. So start as early as possible. Second, you want to start developing skills as well, especially sales, marketing, leadership skills. Those are like really important skills. Like, start learning about those skills, reading books, watching YouTube videos, investing in mentorship, because that's how you can actually acquire more skills. You can become more valuable when you work at a company or even once you start your own business. Third, which is that you want to just have a growth mindset. It is never enough. You might reach some level of success and you might have some ego telling you, hey, I cannot, I have achieved enough. I don't want to learn from somebody else, but you want to always have that growth mindset, always learning, because now entrepreneurship is like lifetime job. You don't just do that and 1 year, 2 years, then you retire. No, this is lifetime job. You read books, you keep learning, you keep developing yourself. Even one of the regrets I had is not learning earlier, because when I used to listen to music a lot, wasting time watching TV shows. That, nothing wrong with that, but right now I don't do that anymore. When I'm driving by myself, I listen to podcast, to an ebook, to something that's going to feed my brain. When I'm working out, I use it to listen to music, but not anymore. I listen to something that's going to feed my brain, because the time is valuable. You want to use every single moment of your day towards your future. So that's the advice I would give.
That is fantastic. The next question is futuristic, and this is the last question. And as I ask that question, I'm going to share your website at the bottom of the screen. Before I ask the question, who should reach out to you? Who are you looking for in terms of your next moves?
Yeah, so any potential investor looking to invest, and also they want to make a good return on their investment, yeah, they can reach out to us at findersautomation.com. There is like contact tab. They can go there and yeah, they can reach out to us. And also I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere. You can just find my handle. My handle is Find Shaker, Shaker, and you can find me everywhere.
Okay. Now, the last question is futuristic. If time was an illusion again and I could teleport you into the future, and we're going to sit with the 90-year-old you. You're now sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your grandchildren, your dogs, your cats, whoever is with you at the end. If I could take you to go and have a conversation with this wise man who's led you up until this point, what will you say to him when you finally meet him?
I would say that, taking risk could be the most rewarding thing in life. Without taking risk, you wouldn't be sitting on that chair, because even though a lot of the time, we get scared of making a move, taking a risk, but that will be the most rewarding thing in life. So take risk, take actually a lot of risk if you're able to do that. So yeah, if especially with what I do, it's all about taking risk. So to get to that 90 years old self, yeah, it's all about taking high risk to achieve what I want to achieve in the future.
Fantastic. Now, I want to thank you so much for coming online. That last question, I love asking it because a lot of times as human beings, we don't trust our intuition. We don't trust ourselves. We look outside of ourselves for the solution, yet there's that little voice that's telling you, don't go to college. You can do this, or go left or go right. And we don't listen to the gut feelings that guide us. And I think your intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the stronger it gets, the more you use it. And it sounds to me like that's what you've done. And you've built a phenomenal business because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Thank you so much for being such an inspiration. I love talking to entrepreneurs who are on the cutting edge, defying all the odds. So it's been an absolute honor having you on the show
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is a platform that brings you the voices and stories of people from all over the world. We are here to uplift you, inspire you, energize you, but more importantly, to empower you with knowledge and skills to take you from where you are now to where you want to go. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks again, Shaker. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.